In Estonia, voters are going to the polls in local elections. The first ballot since a new law came into effect that prevents non-European Union citizens who live in Estonia from taking part. More than 70,000 people have lost the right to vote, most of them members of Estonia's Russian minority. DW's Grzegorz Szymanowski reports from Narva on the country's eastern border with Russia.
The Estonian parliament changing the constitution. In March, lawmakers stripped non-EU residents of the right to vote in local elections. Lawmakers approved it with an overwhelming majority, with a specific group in focus.
If you have Estonian citizenship, if you live here, then you can decide on local matters. But if you're a Russian or Belarusian citizen, a citizen of terrorist states, in times like we have now, it's not good if citizens of other countries interfere with our local issues.
For the local elections this week, we went to Narva, the center of Estonia's Russian-speaking community. It's right on the border with Russia. This river separates Estonia from Russia. Since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Estonia has tightened up security on this bridge, adding new gate and roadblocks. Now the country is drawing a clear political line at home too, over who can vote in local elections. Holders of Estonian passports are eligible to vote as usual. But more than 15,000 Narva residents holding Russian passports are now excluded. That's a drop by 1/3. Many people we spoke to said the legislation is discriminatory.
I'm strongly opposed to the war. It's outrageous. But why did they take this right away from me? It's just a pretext. Oppression is in full swing.
I think it's not right, because they live here, they pay taxes, they're a part of society. This pressure that the Russians shouldn't vote, it's as if they are second-class citizens.
Estonian Center Party voted against excluding Russian voters. In Narva, it's one of the front-runners.
People are offended, and in general, they don't feel like they're a part of Estonia.
Supporters of the new rules are rare here and face an uphill battle.
If you want to vote in Estonia, learn Estonian and apply for citizenship. It's all in people's heads. If someone wants to become a citizen, they do it. But for some, it's more convenient to remain a citizen of another country, so they can travel there more easily.
In Narva, even in local elections, the neighbor Russia is still looming large.
And for more on this story, I'm now joined by DW correspondent Grzegorz Szymanowski, who filed that report and joins us now from the Estonian city of Narva, right at the border with Russia. Grzegorz, you are at a polling station there. How is the law most likely going to influence the outcome of this election?
Well, Gerhard, this law didn't go down well with Russian speakers here in Estonia, and those of them who still can vote, they are actually mobilized now, and this is what we are observing here, and also in polls, projections that these Russian speaking voters are turning up more than usual, and the party that stands to profit from this the most is the Estonian Center Party, traditionally described as the most open to Russian speakers. This is also the only party that voted against the changes to this new law in the parliament, so now it is profiting from that stance.
Now, you mentioned this party. How strong is this pro-Russian movement in Estonia?
Well, the Estonian Center Party is actually not considered as radical. It is a historic party. It's active within Estonia's democratic discourse. It's not challenging Estonia's constitutional order. Any parties that are pro-Kremlin or Kremlin-aligned, they are really tiny, marginal, and not really relevant in Estonia.
Now, this law passed in March, and it had the aim to convince members of the Russian-speaking community to become Estonian citizens. From your view, is that succeeding?
Well, I think the one factor that is important for this question is how often do these people really go to Russia, to the other side of the border? How often do they cross this bridge that you could see in the report? Because many people we spoke to here, they told us that they go to the other side regularly to visit some relatives, go visit a doctor, go shopping. And for them, holding Russian passport is quite practical. They can go to Russia without needing a visa. So I think this is going to be a hard sell for them to give up the Russian passport and exchange it for the Estonian one. But the law is really intended to convince those Russian speakers who have neither Estonian nor Russian passport. This is quite a big group in Estonia.
And now, why did Russian citizens, or say non-EU citizens, non-Estonians, have a right to vote in the first place? Normally you would think that only Estonian citizens are allowed to vote in Estonia.
Yes, this is quite an unusual. This was quite an unusual rule, and it's really a legacy of the historic development here. Estonia was part of the Soviet Union, and at that time Russian speakers were encouraged to settle down in Estonia. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, Estonia regained independence. The country had quite big Russian-speaking minority, some 1/3 of the population here. And at that time Estonia was also highly dependent economically on Russia, so for that reasons Estonia didn't want to antagonize Moscow, and it was also thought as a integration measure, really to allow people everyone residing in Estonia to vote in the local elections. However, this assessment has really changed drastically after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the security situation in the region. Many people in Estonia are worried that Russia might also pose a threat to them. So that's why this law was changed. Estonia is now moving to a different integration model. Estonia really is now ready to push for integration more forcefully than it did before. It wants the Russian speakers also to learn Estonian. So exactly, this is a change in this integration stance of Estonia.
DW, Grzegorz Szymanowski there reporting from Narva in Estonia. Thank you, Grzegorz.